Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Patricia Monna, Intuitive Consulting. Today, I have a very special guest with me, all the way up in Edmonton, Alberta, Mr. Derryn Donaghey, who goes by the Extra Large Medium. He is also a professional psychic medium and does CE5 events with contacting extraterrestrials. So, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today, Derryn. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Patricia. Yes, it's amazing that we were able to meet and have very similar views on things. And who knew that Edmonton and Calgary could get along so well when they put their mind to it, eh? No Battle Alberta here. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, and I do run the CE5 Alberta, so Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And if you don't know, if any of your viewers aren't sure what that is, it's human initiated contact with extraterrestrials, and we've done, I don't know, maybe about 35 of the last 3 years, and we always see something. It's maybe not always little green men, but there's always something interesting. So, just in case you didn't think I was weird enough, we'll throw the aliens into the equation.
Yes, well, I think that's how I came across you, was through the CE5 Facebook page. And I had the pleasure of going out with you this past summer for one of the CE5 events. And I gotta say, I've only done maybe, I think, 3 or 4 of them, but 3 out of 4, they don't disappoint. Like, it's crazy what you do see happening. And I remember one time my girlfriends and I, we were up in Canmore, and you know how pitch black out Canmore is.
Yeah.
Well, we were using one of the little lasers to make contact, and all of a sudden started flashing back at us, and there was nothing there. It was in between the crevice of a mountain. So I know there was no streets or even aircrafts that would have totally mimicked us right back. So I definitely believe that there is a lot out there that we don't understand.
For sure. Actually, the exact same thing happened to me in Canmore. We go up by the Banff Gates, place where you were at the time, the mountain resort there, and it's fantastic. And same thing, it was showing cognizance. It was, I would go click, 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 and you go 1, 2, 3, and responding back. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like I said, who knows what's up there that's reverse technology or new technology we don't know, or maybe some of them are little green men and multidimensional beings. But it's never a dull moment when we're out there. That's for sure. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know personally, I've had a couple very interesting things happen when it comes to aliens and stuff. Back in 2020, I had the pleasure of being on Gaia TV, and what was interesting was my one friend who's also psychic. She says to me, she goes, "Patricia, you start hanging out with all these alien people and you start doing that stuff." She goes, "I'm telling you, they're real and they'll make their presence known." And the craziest thing was, I had 3 experiences back to back. And I actually even, this lady that I met, she told me that she was a shapeshifter. I'm like, okay. Okay. She's like, no, I'm a shapeshifter. And so finally I said, okay, if you're a shapeshifter, do it. Well, oh my God, Derryn, she changed right in front of me.
Wow.
And if I didn't see it from my very own eyes, I would not believe that it is real.
Wow.
Yeah, her hair all of a sudden was glowing, and it grew literally. And it had this shimmery purple. Her face went almost like this pattern, or these veins came creeping across her face from the left side of her neck and her face, and her eyes completely changed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And her hands were doing this weird movement things, and her eyes were moving funny. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing I've ever come across. But for me, it was an experience that now that I've had it, I know it's real. So I don't question that stuff anymore.
Wow. So do you think that it was actually somebody not of this earth, or do you think it was maybe demonic, or what did your gut tell you?
The way she explained it to me was that the body is the vessel. The body, think of it as the car, right? And the consciousness is the driver that drives the vehicle. And she said, I just changed drivers. I allowed an ET driver inside of me. She goes, and what you're
Oh,
seeing, and she said to me, she goes, Patricia, you must be really psychic, because for you to be able to actually see that happening, because most people will just say, did you do your hair different? Is your makeup
mm,
different? She says they'll perceive it as something's off or something looks different. She goes, but you saw my whole avatar. And she can control that. She told me that she can do that for certain people, where she allows them to see her for what she actually looks like. And
wow.
to me, it looked like a hologram coming down over her face. So when she changed, you know those Snapchat filters that sit on top
Yeah.
of you, right? That's what it looked like. It looked like a Snapchat filter coming down, well, actually going up this way, all across her face. And like I said, her hands were moving really fast and weird, doing these weird movements. And yeah, it was quite mind blowing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, the way she explained it, it makes me wonder how many human beings are actually walking among us, and how many ETs have taken either, I don't know, the soul out of that body or the driver out of that body, and now it's them controlling that body.
Yeah. Well, it makes you wonder, and we've seen lots of examples of slippages with those, particularly in government and things like that, where you see stuff and you're like,
Mm,
photoshopped, or did we actually see? It almost looked like a reptilian eye on that guy or something, right?
yeah,
Who knows, right? It makes you
it
wonder.
makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the only difference between a skeptic and a believer is the experience. You got to
Mhm.
see it for yourself. You got to experience it for yourself if you want to actually believe in this stuff. Because just me talking about it, that's my paradigm. This is my truth. This is what I saw, right? But I'd be careful what you wish for, because like I said, my friend Lisa warned me. She's like, Patricia, you start hanging out with all these alien people, and they're going to start showing themselves to you.
Yeah.
And sure enough, yeah, I was quite surprised with.
What I've really found, I had a major experience. I used to be a military policeman, and when I was on exercises one time, when I was doing some training, we had one out by Redwater in 1987, and it was like, it was a whole platoon of us, and we saw something. It was no disc. It was like a mothership, and it came right down. And what got us lost, why we were so far, is our compasses all went wacko. And that's why we got way out and lost. But what's funny about it, I remember this one guy say, "Can we shoot at it, Master Corporal?" Well, first of all, we have blanks, and second of all, if we had live rounds, if it's capable of interstellar travel and that big, I wouldn't recommend it. But afterwards, when we finally got back to our bus and everything, there was only 3 of us that remembered it. And I remember walking back, and you're supposed to be silent in the bush and whatever, and I'm trying to just burn it into my mind and keep it there, because it was like I don't know, I don't feel that I was necessarily on a ship, maybe not, but it was like it was erased from us. And the guy, when we got back, I go, wow, that was crazy, wasn't it? And he goes, what? I go, well, that UFO. And he says, what are you talking about? I said, you asked the Master Corporal we could shoot at it. You don't remember that? And he's like, no. And I this was only an hour and a half later, kind of thing. So, but what's interesting is the topic of extraterrestrials and that started coming through on doing readings. And yeah, there's one great friends, client that her and her husband became very good friends of mine, and they're up by the Barhead area. And it was the first time I saw, I said, I see you looking up these lights that are stars. And she goes, yeah, I focus on these 2 all the time. And then I said, you saw a UFO, first time I've ever said in a reading. She goes, yeah. And then an ascended master came through, which was, wow, that never happened to me before. And he told me his name, and I keep forgetting it. She wrote it down, thankfully, because I can't remember it. It's not one of the main ones you would know. And he says she's a child of the stars, and she needs to learn more about her origins. And hers goes back to the Pleiades system, and it's been remarkable. And ever since then, now I don't think I've ever said to somebody in a reading, you saw a UFO, and they've said no. Like it seems like I get in contact with the people I need to get in contact about. So yeah, I know I think even you mentioned it earlier on the CE5 Alberta page, there was somebody that shot some great footage right over Edmonton just recently here.
Amazing footage. Yeah.
But all these things are coming together, Patricia. I think you and I both know that.
Yes.
No.
Well, and you can feel it in the air, like we were talking about before we hopped on. It's like the energy in the air is so staticky. And the thing is that, I got to talk about this for a second, talking about energy and static and stuff. So we can absolutely heal with frequencies. We can do harm with frequencies. Think of EMF and cell phone towers and all of that. I truly believe that the reason why your compass was going crazy was because they travel on EMF, the electromagnetic field. They work with that. They understand energy that way. Well, apparently so does Toyota. So get a load of this. So my husband just bought a new truck, and the salesman, was putting on the bells and whistles. Oh, and you get this clear coat and you get the waxing and all of this. Then he goes to sell him this little blue square device called a diamond coat. And what it is it's a little thing that plugs in to the truck and it emits a frequency, Derryn, throughout the metal of the truck, the frequency of rust, so that it doesn't rust. It uses its own vibrational frequency of rust to literally dispel rust so that the vehicle does not get rust.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure that maybe there's a lot of people out there that do know about this technology. Well, so here's where, and I said to the guy, I even took a picture of it. And I said to the guy, I'm doing a YouTube video about that. I said, because here's the thing, that is rife technology, royal rife technology at its finest. So here's the thing, if they are using frequencies to make sure that a truck is not getting rust, why are doctors not using frequencies to get rid of cancer? They use it for kidney stones. They use it for everything else. Why can't we use vibrational frequencies to heal a cavity in our mouth? We absolutely can. It's just, you know what? Healthy people don't pay the bills. But it actually made me mad to think, I know exactly how this technology is working because I own a Rife machine, and we literally have blasted viruses, pathogens, chronic pain, neuropathy, all of that. And I'm going, this is advanced technology that was actually created in like the 40s.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
So
poor old Dr. Rife went the way of the dodo bird, like Tulsa.
I know.
How can I say that name? Tesla.
Tesla. and it's like, where did they get that amazing information from? Who was using their avatar where they looked human? But you look at Elon Musk, even, I'm going to tell you something. I can see a person's matrix all around their body, and that guy is not human.
No.
That guy is not human.
There's something on there. Sorry, go ahead.
There is. It's a frequency. And I can tell when someone has a human frequency and when someone's not from here, even if they're from the angelic realm or, a different, like Lemuria, or they're Syrian. I can just see it in their field. And yeah, that guy's not from here. But anyways, Toyota's using the frequencies. Well, I personally think that that's how ETs travel, is by using and manipulating the electromagnetic field that's around us.
For sure.
Right?
And they definitely cloak themselves. I quite often see distortions. I remember one day I was driving back, pardon me, from Victoria, and then it was in the middle of the night, and I like driving at night because you don't get as many big trucks and campers and that. And I was driving by, I forget the name of it there, just inside BC from the Alberta border kind of thing, in that area. And I just stopped and oh wow, what a light show was going on. And it's like, I think I took this one by surprise, because I got out and then I looked and I saw a ship there. And then it cloaked, and I hit it with my laser because I have my laser with me. And then I just saw like a little spurt and it was gone, right? I was like, oh shit, he's onto us, but no, I totally believe that. And like I said, Dr. Rice's technology I mean, it's been amazing. How I found out about it is two of my clients that one had stage 4 colon cancer, inoperable, and it's totally gone now. And it also helped another one, and so I met a practitioner here, and that was amazing that how that technology. I lay down, 2 minutes later, she's got 5 pages printed out about things that she could have never known about me.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's amazing technology for sure.
yeah.
I can honestly say I'm walking because of it. I regenerated all the nerves in my legs using Rife therapy. And I think that that's how cloaking happens is, well, if you think about it, we can only see a certain amount of the spectrum, the visual spectrum, right? They're obviously working on frequencies that are outside of our visual spectrum. And that's why we'll perceive it as a distortion,
Yep.
or instead of seeing the whole thing, it's working on a different frequency.
Well, for sure. And I'm actually a disabled veteran, so I might have to go see Dr. Mona there sometime. Hey, work this back out,
Will heal you.
driving me nuts, right? So
And I
yeah.
have to say, so you're military police, and obviously very, very good at it, because I did ask you to help me out on a missing person case. And it was very, very cool to see us being able to match information on what we got and be able to pick out someone who we believe is a suspect. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah,
My plate is super full with this stuff.
yeah, well, and it's I mean, and when I say me, I mean them. I'm just a transmitter receiver for them, but being, blessed to be able to help only 4 families a year, I think over 30. So yeah, no, I would love to work more with you on doing that, because it's as I say with it, it's tough work. There's very little to gain from it. Thing it's to do to help the families, because of and I was so happy when I heard you say the same thing. We're not charging these people that are already grieving. We're not ambulance chasers. It's to try and help them. And the thing is with it, if you're right, quite often it leads to bad news for them. So it's tough. It's very tough slugging, and it can be very heavy. So yeah, I was really pleased to hear how you did it, and how so many things that we saw were the same. So
yeah, I've got one right now that I'm working on, that I need answers for ASAP. So maybe when we get off this call, we can
sounds
talk
good.
about that. Yeah, that'd be great to have the extra help.
Yeah, awesome.
So what have you noticed in the energy in the air lately? What have you been picking up?
Well, typically, and I don't know about you, but typically September is my busiest month. I think it's just, kids are back to school, changing of seasons and things like that. It's really but huge increase in paranormal investigations and clearings that I needed to do. I did 3 just in one day the other last week, and I'm doing another one tonight. So there's a lot of activity. The way it got shown to me prior to COVID, it was, that they're coming on Team Dark's coming on a major offensive, and they're trying to divide and conquer. And of course, whatever side you pick with the whole COVID thing, should divided and conquered a lot of people. But this, again, it's all adding up. The things going on in Ukraine, the spiritual things, the UFOs are, hey, we're a roadside attraction right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
And I know if you remember, if you've seen Dr. Greer's movie, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, Contact Has Begun, and they have those, I'm going to say it wrong, I apologize in advance, but they have these things that measure spikes in energy and things like that all around the world. And they said prior to 9/11, it was off the scale, these things, and so it's really cool to watch a movie, because there's a lot of really good science in there, as well as talking about the ETs and so forth. But I would really love to see what that graph, what the frequencies are like now around the world.
Well, isn't that the Schumann Resonance?
Yes, sorry, yes. Thank you.
And I heard that right before 9/11, it was off the charts. It is. I can even tell you what it is right now, because I have the app on my phone.
Thank you. I forgot the name, so
yeah, let's see what it is. Okay, so it should be at 7.83 hertz. Right now it's sitting at 25.
Oh,
So yeah, that's high, but I've seen it even go higher, Darren. The one day it went up over 100, and my heart was going like this all day. Oh God, what's happening? What's happening? And then when I looked it up, it was like, oh wow, we're birthing something. So the Schumann resonance is Mother Nature's heartbeat. It's
yeah.
the field of energy, and yeah, like it can cause major fluctuations in weather. Human behavior acts erratically when this goes up. So yeah, that's high, but I've seen it higher, but 25 is high. So if we're feeling that static kind of feel in the air, I bet you anything the Schumann resonance has something to do with
For
that.
sure, and he's throwing things like Mercury retrograde, and
Yes,
then Halloween's getting closer, so that's always the veils thinner. It's it's almost brewing up to be the perfect storm kind of thing, right?
it is.
So
And speaking of that, one thing that Spirit showed me is that there is going to be some crazy weather that's happening over these next few months. And I think it's because of the energy that we're being bombarded with right now. So there's stuff's changing, stuff's happening in the ethers. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening.
and increase in solar flares and all that kind of stuff. You know, yeah, one of the gals on our C5 group, Alyssa's fantastic at watching that and keeping eyes on that and giving us a heads up when that stuff's coming, because it does affect us too, just like retrograde or anything else would, right? So
Well,
yeah, I don't know. It's funny that all these things are starting to line up, and you wonder what's coming down the pike next. What I really see in the spiritual realm, it's really a case of okay, people, hurry up and pick a team.
yeah.
It's polarization, and it's like, look, you really need to find your light, whatever that means to you. I think it means very similar to you and I, but it's about showing that intent to team light and doing those things. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean religion. It can be, but it's just about contact between you and your creator, and make that strong, right? And really show that intent, because things have already got nasty, and I think unfortunately there's some more of that to come, right?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't feel like it's going to be peaceful for a while. It feels like we're in it over these next few months. That's
Yeah, and yeah, I think there's going to be certainly new. I know there's a lot of people predicting things that even the end of this month and right into November.
yeah. What is that? Because I heard October 25th came up in someone's reading last week, where like, ooh, October 25th, and she's like, no, no, no. She goes, I keep hearing from the truthers September 24th, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm looking at two separate things then.
I
But
know.
to me, October 25th really stood out. But what are they talking about September 24th? Do you have any idea? Because I don't know.
I'm not particularly well versed in it. Just in particular, last few weeks have been crazy. I've just moved, and and had a lot of readings and things. But yeah, it's basically a day where there's going to be something major happen worldwide. I know that. I know there's been evidence of moving or securing of financial assets and things like that for worry of this. I don't want to talk too much, because I'm not. There's many of your followers are probably much better, well versed in it than I am. But I do feel everything is aligning in what I'm seeing in the spiritual realm, what I'm seeing in the extraterrestrial, these things, something's coming. And I don't mean that to be fear mongering. I always say, we got to respect the darkness, but don't fear it. You just, stay tight to the light, to cling to the light, and be ready for it. I always say, be prudent, not panicked, right? And so I wish I could say more on it, but I know there is. I know sometimes, like I said, that thing prior, it was in 2019. I just had this epiphany, and I saying there was going to be all this deception placed across the world, and civil unrest, which happened January 6th in the U.S., of course, and then it was going to wait for a while, then it was going to be more widespread, obviously in Canada and things like that, and worldwide, and then it was going to die down, and then it was going to get massive again. And we got to realize, look, whatever belief you have or whatever, you got to understand who the puppet master is, right? And so we can't buy into the hatred and the anger, right? And I mean, I have my beliefs that I think are pretty much aligned with yours, and so forth. But it's just like it's so easy to go down those rabbit holes, and then what does it do? It changes our vibe in a negative way.
Absolutely.
So,
But
yeah.
I think also that we signed up for this. Every single person that is on this earth right now, we absolutely signed up for this mission. This is our part of creation in this story called life, you know. And it's interesting because it came to me yesterday. I can't remember what the heck I was thinking of or looking at, but it came to me, you know, I'm here right now for the great grandchildren that I will never even meet, because who knows, they might be the cure for cancer, or they might be the one that lands us on the moon. And if I wasn't here right now, none of that would happen in the future. Like, we don't know what we've been put in this place in this time. We don't know why, but there is a why, there is a reason to it. And specifically, I even think that right down to geographically, where we live, where we're plugged in, where we're working, and the people that are around us, we've been brought into their lives to affect change however we can, in whatever way we can. And that's why it's so important to tread lightly on this earth, because when we hop out of our bodies and do that life review, we will see it through the eyes of every single person that we have ever come into contact with.
Yeah.
Because we are all one, right? Just like it says in the Bible, you know, do unto others as you'd have done unto yourself, because we really are all one. And so, you know, if I was a nasty person where I was slugging shots, I'm going to see my own fist in my face.
Yeah. And very well stated. I've been doing, I think I was sharing with you, I've been watching a lot on YouTube of I died 10 years ago, actually. And I had a near-death experience. My dad did in 76. He was gone for over 10
years. Back up. What happened in that near-death experience? Tell.
Well, basically I had a slip and fall on February 6, 2012. I woke up 6 hours later in a CAT scan at the U of A hospital. I had a subdermal hematoma, which is a fancy word for brain bleed. And so I was in neurology all week, and, you know, and they're poking and prodding me every hour. I couldn't sleep. So I did my grand escape on the Friday. That was Sunday night. I escaped Friday. Probably took me an hour and 15 minutes to stand up, put on my pants, pick up my few things and leave. It was just, in hindsight, that's still out of my tree, right? But about 10 days after that, I got up, I was starting a new job, and I started throwing up, and I knew enough about head injuries. So I went into the Misericordia, they transferred me to the U of A. That was a Wednesday, he transferred me. By Thursday night, I didn't know my own name. They were asking, and I'm not one that, you know, I don't like painkillers and things like that. My head was in such a vice. I had tears begging them for more drugs because I was in so much pain. And so the next morning, Friday morning, they put me in surgery, drilled a little hole in my head to relieve the pressure, because it was called a midline rift. So it's basically putting the bleed is putting so much pressure on your brain. So I felt a little better after that, but the best way to describe it, I remember walking West End Mall a little while after that, and I remember, like, my body was here, but my soul was slightly misaligned. It was almost like I had two different vantage points, right? Wow. And and that wasn't it. So I was moving down to work actually out of Calgary Airport area there, and so I got a place on a little ranch just east of Calgary, and I couldn't even lift the thing my family had. They got movers and did it and sent it, because, you know, I was just out of it. And I was down there at the time. I was vice president of Alberta Soccer, and I came back to Edmonton for some meetings, and I just had headaches all day Saturday and then into Sunday. And I thought, well, it's my first time back. But I went to Medi Center. Oh yeah, you got an infection. You know, give me some drugs. And then I'm driving back to Calgary, and I had beagles at the time. I had two of them in the back, and I just felt like I was having a stroke. I pulled over, and I told the 911 my range road and everything. And they came and got me and took me to hospital in Calgary, and they gave me a lumbar puncture. So they put a needle in your spinal cord, they pull out your cerebral fluid.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and you can't move, you're face down, it does nothing to numb it really. And I said, I'm going to throw up, but I could see people moving around, but nobody was coming to help me or give me a basin. And then I just woke up in a room, and nurse came in. He says, "You scared us." I said, "Oh, you scared me. I thought I was going to yak all over you guys, right? With the nausea." And he goes, "No, we lost you. We had to bring you in resuscitation." And it wasn't until that second that it clicked with me that I had some sort of conversation with a magnificent being. And they said, "Derryn, we've given you these abilities. You're not using them. Get back in the game." That was like a timeout basketball, right? Come on, you're giving these abilities. Get back in the game. Let's go. And it still took me, believe it or not, a couple of years after that, because just 2012, my life just bottomed out. But it was amazing after that. And I kept seeing, I wasn't a medium back then, of course, and I kept seeing 9/11. What is this? To the point that I even went to New York to see the 9/11 site, and it was interesting, but it wasn't resonating with me per se. And finally said, "Oh, those are angel numbers. You can look them up." And the one I saw, it says, "One chapter of your life is closing, and another one's about to open. It's going to be magnificent. We've got your back," kind of thing. And that couldn't have been more true. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Oh my God, you're still here. We definitely need you here.
Well, thank you. And you know what? It's funny about it. It's like I would say I didn't choose this pathway. I got thrown down it. And even now with being, a disabled veteran, and I get a certain amount per month, and I'm allowed to make a little bit on top of that. But it's allowed me to be able, because I've always had that back injury, I just didn't even equate it with military for so long. But it is now like it's allowing me to do what I love and what can help people. So it's funny how the stars align like that. If you would have told 19-year-old Derryn 2 things he'd never do, one would anything to do with the paranormal, because after watching Poltergeist, I'm out, right? No way. Yeah. And 2 is surfing. I'll still never surf because I'm scared of that much water and that much strength. But here I am ghost busting, and it doesn't bother me. The hardest thing I ever had to do, didn't have anything to do with the military. It had to do with sensing a demon in my room, closing my eyes, knowing the light had me, and I'm going to be okay. And since that day on, I don't fear them. I said, "Oh no, I don't want to be doing the clearings and paranormal investigations." And they basically said to me, "Derryn, you're a soldier. If you're not going to do it, who's going to do it?" All right. So,
I love doing paranormal investigations and house clearings. I used to do them all the time. I don't have time for it anymore, but I love catching proof on tape.
Yeah.
And having that experience absolutely for myself. It's quite fascinating, but at the same time, it can be very scary and very intimidating. But I just wanted to remind everyone, nothing has authority over you unless you give it. Nothing has authority over you unless you give it. So the minute we feed into that fear, that's when we're allowing our armor and our shield to, we're laying it down. But really, no, you command it. I command things. I command it in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and scatters like mice, Derryn.
I actually have proof of it, Patricia. Yeah, I actually have great proof of it. So one of my best friends is he's still in law enforcement, but he doesn't really believe in this stuff, but he's a healthy skeptic. But he's amazing with technology. So we have this technology, it's fantastic. It will show us if something's there and so forth. And I was doing a clearing in a place that we ended up realizing was a poltergeist, but I felt a pain in my chest. And I put the EMF up to it, and it was reading 5s or 6s, which is considerable, enough for the alarm to go off. Yeah. And he said, he saw it in the camera, he goes, "Derryn, it's above you right now, and it's sticking its foot into you, and that's what you feel." And the first time I did, I said, "Michael Archangel, please remove blah, 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 blah." And it didn't work. And I'm like, you know what? We're not supposed to pray to angels, we're supposed to pray to your creator. And I said, "Dear God, please remove any negative, dark, low-level, earthbound, shadow, demonic entities from me, from the home, the clients, and the property, in the name of Jesus Christ." As soon as I said Jesus Christ, EMF went to 0s. Tom said the thing disappeared and the pain went away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it works.
you can think what you want about afterlife or creator or whatever. I'm telling you what works. I'm not here to tell you what your belief system should be. I don't belong to a church. I don't belong to any certain denomination, but I do believe in God and I do believe in Christ. And I'm telling you, for somebody that does this every day of their life, that's what gets rid of them. Smudge and Palo Santo is great. It's nice, but it's not the kill shot.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I have a prayer that, because when I was little, I could sense demonic entities and dark negative energy. And so my mom actually gave me a prayer that, yeah, it rebukes it. I rebuke you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And it's longer than that, but I tell you, it clears the room out like that. I've never not had success with it.
Yeah.
Every single clearing that I've done has worked with that prayer. And I just think that right now we do need to bring on the armor of God. And I never thought I would publicly ever talk about God, or because that was something as a child. My parents were big born again Christians and they taught me everything that I know, but I haven't set foot in a church in eons. Because and I think it's because I look at it as, no, I can hear. I've got a direct connection. So it's every day, teach me, Lord, use me as an instrument of your peace. And I just show up and it happens, and even when I first started doing this, because I was a palliative oncology nurse before I did this. And so going from nursing to saying I'm a psychic is a big it's a different field of energy.
It was a policeman, yeah.
A different reaction, right? Absolutely, going from being a policeman to a psychic. But you know what? Those two go hand in hand, because y'all would use your spidey senses, right? That, I mean, it's a great great ability to have in that job. But yeah, I can't remember what the heck I was saying. It's gone.
Are you going from you're saying about from going to nursing and
that's right. Thank you. Yes. God, my ADD is so bad. But yeah, going from nursing to being called a psychic, it was quite the jump. But one thing when I prayed about it, what I heard was, I get to show people God's love. People that would never set foot in a church, I get to minister to. I get to show them that it's real. Because the thing is that if I can tell them about their lives, tell them about things that there's no way I should know, be able to communicate with their loved ones. You know what? If this is real, it opens a door. What else is real? And the thing is that it's not about religion. I don't care what faith a person is. Just have your faith. Just have faith. Because it is our faith that will save us in the end, or our lack of it, it'll leave us in places that we don't want to be. So I think for me, it's just find your faith, because there's so many roads that go to the same place, right?
Well, in almost exactly what you just said there, I have a couple books over here. I can even show them at the end. There's a guy named Dr. Jeffrey Long, and he's an ornithologist from Texas, and he's the world's leading expert on investigating NDEs, near-death experiences. And what's interesting about it is one of the things that he asked, so he puts everybody that he interviews in one of 5 categories. So maybe you're Christian, maybe your other religion like Muslim, Jewish, whatever. You're basically what he calls non-religious, was kind of agnostic. It's like you kind of believe in something, but you don't know anything about it really. Atheists don't believe in anything at all, or more spiritual new age. And then what he does is he interviews them, and it's very like scientifically approved, the way the interview's done. And he asks them, and there's, of course, I think he has 21 points in his book. His number, Proof of the Afterlife and God in the Afterlife are his books. And one was number
Proof of the Afterlife. It's really good.
Yeah, that was number 1 New York Times bestseller. And basically, what, think about it. If somebody could ask God or Christ a question, what would it be? And a lot of times it's, what's the one true religion? And what they all get answered, all these people don't know each other at different parts of the world, one of the 5, right? Is that they're all different pathways up the same mountain to meet. So my family's from Northern Ireland. Why are we killing each other over the few differences between Protestant and Catholic? right? Like if you're killing in the name of religion, you don't understand the intent. And religion's more of a man-made where, I do believe in Christ, but 100%. But it's interesting when you see other people have had these NDEs and their experiences, and it's very, very similar. The only thing that of all the ones I've watched, and you can see them on YouTube as well, is that there's some that totally believe in hell and some that don't. But a lot of the other ones will say it's what your reality. Some people go into this emptiness, this nothingness, and it could be what their belief system was. And then when they change their thought or mind, then all of a sudden heaven appeared.
So I can tell you what I was shown about hell.
Please do.
So you know how people who have a near-death experience say they see a light at the end of the tunnel, and then their whole life flash before them. Well, that whole life flash before them is kind of the prelude to heaven or hell. Because, okay, so think of it this way. This is how you actually experience that life review. We'll say you're Hitler, or we'll say Hitler, he killed, we'll say 10 million Jews, which it was more than that. And it wasn't just the Jewish population, but we'll say 10 million. And so when he goes through that life review, we'll say he crucified them for 10 years. So it's 10 times a million. He has to actually feel what each and every one of those people that he murdered, that he hurt, destroyed, starved, beat. He has to feel that every single day times the 10 years for one person.
Wow.
One person. No, it gets even worse than that. This is what I was shown. It is literally a ripple effect, because we'll say just that one person. It isn't just that one person. It's their family that was affected because they had to grieve their loved one. It was the children that had to grow up without parents. So he has to actually feel the lineage.
Yeah.
Of what that did. Now, keep in mind, the sins of the father go down 7 generations and go up 7 generations. So it's actually 14, and epigenetics is proving that. It's not 7 generations. It's 7 generations from where we stand. So we have the chance, if we're trying to heal our bloodlines, doing intergenerational healing, we have to send it up 7 generations and down 7 generations in order to heal that sin, or to erase it from the timeline matrix that we're in. But yeah, so if you look at Hitler, just that one person, if he did that and hurt them and totally tortured them for 10 years, that's one 10-year sentence. He did that to 10 million. Like I said, plus the ripple effect of all the ancestors. So he's going to be in that messed up matrix for a long time. Wow. Now, here's the other thing. The flip side. We'll say, I help you, and I help you to realize your dreams, or I help you get there. Not only will I feel that initial, oh my goodness, and the excitement and the love and all the radiance from that, but I will feel the ripple effect. So we'll maybe say, I helped you realize your dream that then fed your family, and help them realize their dreams. It's a ripple effect in each way of our actions. And the only way that we can eradicate that and not relive through that is through true forgiveness. True forgiveness completely wipes the slate. It eradicates it from the book. It's like taking an eraser and erasing the page that all of that drama was put on.
I wrote an article one time called The F Word, and it's the hardest thing for us as humans to do is to forgive. But if not forgive, at the very least, let it go. Because, putting that anger on them, well, it can't hurt them, of course, but who does it hurt? It hurts you the most, right? And that's the toughest thing. It's hard with clients is they've got some darn good reasons. It's not just what they're telling me, because we're all naturally going to put it in our favor how we're telling a story, right? But it's what I sense about it, and some of them have very good reasons why to be angry or hateful, even, or whatever, about things that people have wronged them in the past and that, right? But that's the thing that you know, none of us are we're all gonna get bumps in the road, but you know, how are we gonna navigate around that? That's the trick. That's how do we find love, you know, and forgiveness in this crazy world of ours? And that's what we've challenged ourselves for. And especially now in this time, like you said, we chose to be here. I truly believe that we pick our missions in life. There's amazing stories of 4-year-old kids that are talking about their last mummy, or the one guy said he was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he told them his name, and they checked it out, and he got shot down over Japan in World War II.
James something.
Yeah. With an M
I
name, I think.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was cool. That was
So
I saw that one.
there's amazing stories like that, and you can see. I remember one nurse. It's actually on my extra large medium Facebook page, and she was atheist, and she was a nurse, and she didn't believe in that, and she died, and she met Christ, and talked about her mission and to come back, and it's amazing that those things are just. It's not just because I had an NDE, but I think because a lot of things that I wasn't expecting that I heard that fit in with my belief system already, and it was great validation. And I think you have many of the same, and it's great validation to go back and hear from people who've actually passed away, and what their experience was. Because, I think you and I are blessed in the way, Patricia, that we've been kind of being shown what we need to be doing in our pathway. Not everybody gets that big ta-da reveal, So, but I believe it's there for us all. Like certainly our subconscious, our soul knows about it, but it's to get it to the front, to the consciousness. And we can do that through prayer and through meditation to say, like, look, what am I supposed to be doing? What I also found was really interesting, Patricia, it almost seemed contrary. And I in my, actually, like you would teach mediumship. But one of the things that I challenge the students to is that with your pathway and stuff like that, when you're going through this. Sorry, I got sidetracked a little bit with my mind. Yeah, squirrel. I do that a lot. So anybody knows me knows it. Yeah, there's been too many plates. But what I talk about is one of the things is with spirituality and religion, and they have to decide, do they clash, or do they mend, or do they whatever? And I honestly think they don't have to be on that. Like, I always feel that me, and I think you as well, that's why I enjoy chatting with you, is that realize like both can coexist, right? And I've had 2 ministers tell me that I have spiritual discernment, which is, I think, their way of saying, God approved or something, what I mean? Like you're passing on the right messages and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it's amazing in our pathway. And I think really if we drill down, what I was going to say is what I found was really amazing was that over 80% of the people, and this is through Dr. Jeffrey Long's work, over 80% of the people that claim to have died and come back ended their relationship after that. And I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, look, you're in a place of love, unconditional love, and all that. And why would you come down and do that? But I think it's also realizing, hey, I have a life mission. And if my partner is not truly a partner in that doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing the same journey or have to believe what you believe, but at least that they're supportive. Then they realize, dibs out, I got to accomplish what I got to accomplish. And that's either with or without you kind of thing, right? Yeah. So that kind of surprised me, actually, but kind of makes sense, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, things are shifting, because even that little blip of you forgetting there for a second, there's a reason why both of us had that happen. It's funny because it happened with my client this morning on a reading, and what I instantly saw was that's our 3D stuff. We're glitching out because we're floating in 5D now. The energy around this earth, especially for the people who have been working on kind of upgrading their systems, it's literally like your short-term memory is gone. You'll walk into a room and completely forget while you're in there, or like you'll start noticing the Mandela effect.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yes. Or another one that Spirit showed me was you'll look in the mirror and you'll look a little different. Like you didn't realize you had a mole there, or just something looks a little different. Yeah, I think that our reality is definitely shifting right now. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be skinny. I think the Matrix better. That stupid CERN thing screwed me up. I'm pretty sure I was skinny in my other life.
Well, thank you so much, Derryn, for this awesome conversation that we've had. I definitely want my viewers and my clients to be able to know how to get a hold of you if I'm too busy, because I know that my schedule is booking into next year. So Derryn is an amazing psychic medium, and let them know how to be able to get a hold of you.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, there's a couple ways. On Facebook, I'm the extra large medium. My webpage is thexlmedium.com. And also on TikTok now, new kids and new technology. So I am Derryn, so it's at DERRYN XL Medium. And so I post all kinds of spiritual stuff on there. And awesome. And I know you're a busy lady, but one day we got to get you up and doing some ghost busting with me and Tom, and you'll see our technologies. Woo!
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. I'm totally in. I love ghost busting. I honestly love that stuff. So most definitely we will. And as soon as we hang up from here, I'm going to give you a call and let's talk about one of the cases that I'm working on right now. So
thank you much. Thank you very much for all the good you do. God bless you, Patricia. You're an awesome soul. I'm glad our paths have crossed. So
absolutely, me too. And thank you, viewers, for sticking with us for this awesome interview. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. I think I'm supposed to say that. So God bless. Take care, everybody.
Live long and prosper, since I'm talking about aliens today. I nerded out.
Take care, guys. Bye for now. Bye.